Greetings everyone, a warm welcome to you all. Namaste. Hey, thank you for joining me. Aquarius, this is your reading for October 2018. So thank you for joining me, guys. We will be using the Morgan Greer cards there, 7 in a mystical spread, and then at the end 1 oracle card as well. Now before I get into the reading too much, I did some intuitive work for you guys. And you got the words books and reading, writing, publishing, anything to do with things along those lines could be a possibility for the month ahead, and also the other months coming up in the year. It could be that an agent is related to this somehow for some of you. So, you know, reading books and learning something new, or learning a new skill, acquiring new understanding of something philosophical or physical around your life. It says for some this can be a spiritual growth. It can also refer to needing to get your accountants to look at your finances, so getting your books looked at. So for some of you who might be in the business realm or thinking of it, there might be a need to uplift an accountant's, accuracy or insight as well. So there's some things for you to think about while we start shuffling for the reading ahead. So Aquarius for October 2018. Let's see what's in store for you guys. This spread is quite a good one. It's kind of like a small version of the Celtic Cross. I thought it might have been a little bit quicker than doing the Celtic Cross, but for the readings I've done so far, they've actually turned out to be quite demanding and, wanting to get lots of information out. So we just have to go with whatever comes in a reading. So your first card is your current situation. Your second card are any obstacles that are blocking that. Your third card is your aspiration in life. Your fourth card is what needs to be awakened. Your fifth card is what lies behind you, or the past. Your sixth card is the next stage. And your seventh card is the what will be. So just check that you can see all of those there. We have an alignment here for you guys, 3 major arcanas. So you have 3 in the reading, and they've turned up in an alignment in a vertical line, which gives them a little bit more oomph and power as well. So remember that when the major arcanas are out and around, this is more like galactic energies or cosmic energies shaping some sort of destiny of your future. When the minor arcanas are around, such as these ones through here on their own alignment, so they're on a horizontal alignment, then they are more about how we deal with things, the decisions we make, the day-to-day activities. So we have a say in whether or not we allow certain things to happen or what direction they take. The major arcanas tend to push us in these certain directions. So let's start with your first card, which is your current situation. And you have here the Hierophant. So the Hierophant is often known as a man who does things by authority. Traditionally, he looks to be like a bishop or something to do with the religious indoctrination in life. For some of you, this can mean literally showing an interest in a religious perspective, or becoming slightly more spiritual or awakened at that level as well. Some of you might be attending events at a religious place. It could be a service, a wedding, a christening, a funeral. It could be any of those type of things going on. But overall, the Hierophant tends to go a little bit deeper than that, and he talks to us about the need to acquire kind of like a dignity or a legality in life. So he follows rules. He doesn't, flout things, and he doesn't tempt fate as such. He follows what he's been told to do. He's rather orthodox. So when he's around, it tells you to do things legally, to stick by the rules, to follow instructions, and this can be at any level. So don't think either that just because it's a major arcana it doesn't pinpoint to the little things in life, because it still does. So if you're pondering doing something, like you might be thinking, oh, I'll sit an exam, and I might, I was going to say cheat, but I don't think that's a good example. But you might think, look, I won't bother studying too hard. I reckon I can cram it all in on the last night. It's things like that that would say to you, don't do that. do the protocol, do the hard yards, follow the systems in place, and you will come out much better on top. The same with if you own a business. Don't cheat the business. Don't take the shortcuts. Same for your career. Same for relationships. I often look down here at the keys and I think to myself that they are the potential for opening new doors. So he does indicate that newness can be coming and you can get yourself into a place of through new doors. This can be any area again: career, health, spirituality, emotional, relationships. So with him, in many ways, even though he's kind of like a boundary-driven guy and he kind of halts us a bit, he also has this availability here, a secret that says the world is your oyster if you do it the right way. So I like him, but he doesn't blend too well with me because I'm a bit of an unorthodox person. I like to break rules, really, in life. Well, not too many, but I do break some rules. So for me, he tends to... I feel constricted when he's around, but I always look at the keys and I always go, yes, there's something magical there. Now the other thing is too, he holds up 2 fingers. This can represent the number 2 in many different ways. So it could be for timing, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 days even, or it could resemble 2 people or a partnership, something along those lines. We come to your next one, which was the obstacles, and this is the 4 of wands. Now there have been a couple of readings so far already that have had what we call traditionally really nice cards as an obstacle card, which to me is a wee bit of a shame. It tends to suggest that with you guys, with this one, there's something in the harmony or the house or the home or your feeling groundedness or your stability or your happiness that isn't quite melding right at the moment. It feels as though there could be an obstacle, which is what this card is, or a blockage, or something that is not meeting the harmony points. Now, the card refers to a happy home. It refers to sometimes relationships, like love relationships. And this card, when it's in the good position, can often indicate things like an engagement or attending a wedding or an engagement party or social outings or happy events or moving home to a safe, stable, better home than your current one. But because this is the obstacle and the blockage card, well, we're getting the idea that some of those scenarios might be the opposite. So some of you might have been expecting an engagement to occur and it doesn't. It falls through, or there are glitches, or you separate. Some of you might have been living in a happy home and there's some disharmony for some reason. Some of you might have been in a happy home and you've had to move away for reasons out of your control and you're sad about that. For some of you, this could be a really good time to reorganize what is wrong with this home or loving relationship quadrant of your life. It might be a time to spend some energy and thought and contemplation on how you can turn things around to suit your circumstances better, or to make it more flowing and more back to how it was, or back to how you would like it to be. If we come to the 3rd card, we see up here your aspiration and we see the Empress. But however, she is reversed. So as with all reversals, it's generally the kind of the opposite meaning of the card, or that it means that it's a bit glitchy. When it's upright, the Empress talks to us of beauty, femininity, sexuality, voluptuousness, harvest time, feeling satisfied and safe and happy and nurtured. So in her reversed position, she kind of doesn't exude those feelings quite as much. So some of the context of the reversed card could be that you are feeling not that attractive, or you don't feel that happy with yourself at the moment. Then some of you might be thinking that you don't appear attractive for whatever reason, or that you have lost a degree of self-confidence. It could also be that you aren't connecting enough with your feminine side in life, so there could be a degree of masculinity coming through, and that sometimes shines through as a little bit of aggressiveness, or a little bit, you know, you rule or work in a slightly more patriarchal manner. And that's fine some of the times, but we're better to have a little bit more balance. And if the card is there in reversal, it's telling you that perhaps you need to look at some areas of your life to bring back a little bit more balance in the yin-yang and the female-male connectors. Also, if you're talking at it from a work perspective, it might be that your work is doing well, but you're not aware of it. So you're kind of dismissing parts of yourself, or you're not really understanding the full scope. Yeah, it's like you're discombobulating little bits of yourself into pockets, and you're not amalgamating it all together. Because if you did, you would have a whole lot more understanding or concepts or energy, or a little bit like the High Priestess down here, who we're going to talk about next. Now, it's really interesting that in this line of major arcanas, you had the Hierophant, who's quite the religious kind of patriarchal dominating figure with rules and boundaries, and yet at either side of him you had these feminine cards coming in, almost as if to say, you know, look at your feminine perspectives in life, draw on those and balance them out and utilize the skills that they offer. And this is not just for women, it's obviously for men as well. You know, the High Priestess, she is very similar to the Hierophant in many ways, and these two kind of are sort of after each other as well. So there's a whole conglomeration here of energy that seems to be all very much the same that's going on in the month for you, and you either need to address it, or you need to think about it, or interact with it, or change some of it around to gain knowledge, to gain power, to gain understanding around a whole bunch of circumstances in your life. So, given that this was the aspiration here, maybe your aspiration is to turn some of these things around and to bring more balance back in and more harmony, and to enjoy the calmness that this offers, and the peace and the relaxation and the togetherness, and even the sexuality and the sensuality of life. Maybe you've felt that that was missing, or missing within relationships as well. Because we come down here to the card number 4, which is what needs to be awakened, and the High Priestess is again about esoteric knowledge, spiritual connection. She's also quite a sexually oriented card in many ways, because she's holds the key to the wisdom of femininity and feminine powers. Also, she's got her feet on the moon down here and a moon up here. There's also a moon here. So we're talking very much about moon cycles in your reading. And interestingly enough, today I'm doing this for you in September, and it's the full moon. For this northern hemisphere, this is your harvest moon. This is a very rich, sensuous, beautiful moon to look at, and it embodies those energies and feelings within us as well. It's also the Aries full moon, which is also kind of like passion and fire and energy and sensuousness. So there's a whole degree of something beautiful ebbing through the back of your reading that I think you could connect with and feel this amazing bolt of wonderful cosmic connection that could enlighten you on your own individual private pathway. The High Priestess often talks about feminine cycles, moon cycles, psychic awareness in particular. So some of you could become far more psychically in tuned this month coming up and moving through the rest of the year. You could develop cognitive powers of your own. You could become increasingly interested in the esoteric realms or spirituality or healing as well. A lot of these cards have a degree of healing modalities through them. Some of you may have been thinking of operating or opening a business that works in this line as well. The High Priestess can also represent new relationships coming in, and a really heightened chemical reaction relationship between two people. So someone might be extremely physically attracted to you and vice versa. It can also be a time of high fertility, so conception of a pregnancy, as well as conception of ideas and thoughts and plans being implemented. So again, as I say, we start off with these readings and they seem relatively simple to have a simple plan to have worked with, but they've become extremely full-on messages. And I'm not sure if it's the time of the year or the actual spread that we're using, but these are really wonderful readings for you guys, giving you a lot of insight into how to move through the rest of the year and even into 2019. The moon, obviously, yeah, we've mentioned this, but the moon is playing a part, and I think this will also go back to the eclipses that we had in July and August. They could still be being, awakened within you and within certain experiences and situations around you at the moment. So if we go to card number 5, we see what lies behind you or a past influence. And it is number 5 in position number 5. The 5 of Pentacles is not a nice card usually. It means a temporary setback, and this can mean financial. So unexpected bills or debts or unpaid, income, like your income may have stopped or creditors aren't paying. There can even mean health issues with this card, so unexpected flu-like symptoms or illnesses, or feeling depressed or anxious as well, because the 2 of those people in that picture are down. They're like really bereft, and they feel cut off from something. They feel as if they've been pushed out of a circle of friends or a position within their community. So if this has happened to you in the past, it could be what is partly creating this energy through here. When we go through a stressful situation, it often leads us into a new direction and gives us a deeper understanding on why it might have happened and how to deal with it and where we're going for the future. It can also mean that there could have been a breakup of sorts with a relationship, because this quite often can reference in this card, and it can be a breakup between a loving couple, such as a male and a female. So there's a possibility that that has also happened in the distant past, or that it's been on your mind, or it's been an energy that has been surfacing for you. We come to the card number 6, and this is the next stage. What will it be? Well, this is your typical Aquarian energy, the King of Swords, and he's looking into all of this with quite, strong vigour, holding his sword up there. Now, he usually represents intellectual thought, which of course Aquarians are so well known about. All this, your mind never stops. It's brrr, go, 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 idea after idea, concept after concept. You're the age of this, the Aquarian age that we're moving into. It's all about breaking boundaries and breaking free, unlike our friend the Hierophant here. Maybe you're looking in at these keys and wanting to break free from tradition for some of you. But the King of Swords can represent literally using your intelligent design and flair in life and bringing it into this reality. So once it's been a thought form and comes down into a written concept and communicated, then it can manifest. So he helps that process to happen. The swords are often about written documents, so sometimes signing a document or a contract, or forming one, or handing one out, or seeing an accountant, lawyer, doctor, any of those sort of things. I do sometimes think with the sword cards, especially when they're single swords, it can even mean something like a small operation, or needing to see someone to have something removed. Like it could be a healing that takes place, or a health thing that you want sorted one way or another. So this could also be on your mind. I think that's about all he's saying to me at the moment. He is looking deeply into the reading, so I think his mind is on a lot of this activity that is going on here, and possibly with this obstacle card about the home and situations around a home or things that are going on within it, to try and perhaps appease it or rectify it or turn that obstacles card around to face the right way up. He may be working on resolutions for that, because he has the capacity to do it. With the final card, which is what will be, we see the 8 of Swords. So 2 swords together, they're kind of amping each other up a little bit. We all know the 8 of Swords is a little bit of anxiety, tension and worry. So we often can understand that it's brought about by self-doubt or self-fear, or going through, perhaps when we go through a lot in life and a lot is happening and we get that slightly burnt out feeling, that's when our nerves can become a little bit jarred and edgy, and then we find ourselves in a situation of anxiety. She's done it to herself in many ways. She has this blindfold on, her hands are tied, but she could actually walk out through those swords into the front and carry on walking. So this card often talks to us about the need to sit down, slow it down, especially our minds, because that's where anxiety stems from, is our thought form. Think about things logically and take one step at a time. So if there are any situations around you that become a little bit frenetic or hyped up, or don't seem to be following the pattern that you wanted, think about it, make some logical plans, take a step in a direction, see if you can get yourself out of it, because inevitably there is a door and there is a way out. So I also think, especially when anxiety and depression, or those kind of like slightly negative vibrations are around, we can self-help a lot. It's about eating the right food, taking enough rest and relaxation, slowing the pace of life down, bringing in laughter and happiness and some playfulness, enjoying life a little bit, seeing the lighter side, seeing the cup half full. So there's a lot of different perspectives that we can just help to change our thought form and manifest a little bit more positivity. It is probably a little bit of an annoying thing that card is the end energy, because you're going through so much over here, and I think there's so much potential for some almighty understanding and awareness and connection, but it's almost like it seems as though it will be so much going on it could catch up with you, and you need to take this time out and slow down a little bit at the end. So don't worry about it, it is temporary. Again, I think it makes us reconsider situations and reevaluate things and figure a way out. So again, all of these situations that happen to us are actually moments of empowerment, and I think that's the way to look at any slight times of worry in our life. They eventually empower us to become stronger and more aware and have learned more basically in life. So with that, let's put these cards away and see what your last card for the reading is. And we are using these cards here. They are Saints and Angels. So we will shuffle for Aquarius and see what is the card for them for October 2018. Emotions. Yeah, well, we've seen that in your reading a little bit. So, and that is Saint Dymphina. We'll see what she has to say. I might read for you from the book for the emotions, because sometimes the words in the books can be quite empowering. Let's have a little look. The answer to your question involves emotions, either yours or those of the person you're inquiring about. This is also a message for you to pay closer attention to your emotions. It is safe for you to admit your true feelings to yourself. Saint Dymphina can help you find solutions to any emotional upsets. She's a loving saint who specializes in helping you achieve emotional and mental health. The lantern that she carries helps you better see where you're going and assists you in avoiding obstacles on your path. Allow Saint Dymphina to illuminate your journey. If you notice any unwanted patterns in your behavior, or if you're about to sabotage yourself, call upon this powerful saint for immediate assistance. This card is also a message for you to trust your feelings, especially as they guide you to make positive changes. Your feelings are the voice of heaven speaking through you, and you have a right to them, even if others disagree with them. You can also release any upsetting emotions to God or Creator or Saint Dymphina or the angels for healing and guidance. She was a Celtic girl who fled from her homeland after her widowed father made advances toward her in his bereavement. She and Saint Geronimus travelled to Antwerp, where they founded an oratory. Eventually Dymphina's father found her, and when she rejected his inappropriate affections, he murdered both her and Geronimus. Dymphina's relics and the location of her death are said to heal epilepsy, insanity, nervous conditions and possessions. Today, a mental health facility stands on the place in Geel near Antwerp where Dymphina passed away. She's the patron saint of mental health and mental health workers, and you can call upon her to help you, a loved one, or a client with emotional or mental upsets. So there we are, Aquarius. We did get that kind of feeling there just with that last card, the 8 of Swords, and a little bit there with the 5 of Pentacles that had been in the earlier part of your reading. So just know that you are constantly surrounded by supporters and networkers who are there for you at cosmic level as well as in the physical realm to lighten any load of angst that you might feel on these journeys of growth and change and awareness and connecting with yourself. So thank you guys again for listening. I trust you have enjoyed the messages that have come through and that they are supportive and helpful for you. Remember to check out your moon and rising signs as well, because you might find something really interesting there too. I love it when you leave your comments, and please sub the channel, and a good idea is to press the little bell next to the subscribe button, because that way you can receive all the uploads that come through. So thanks guys, have a wonderful October ahead. Much love, namaste.